ain't no shame in having a side hustle. In this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about this idea out there that if you're serious about your business, you will leave your day job and all of the comforts behind you and go all in with your business, and how that's just not realistic for all of us. I don't know why this has become a thing, but many of my clients have shared with me that they feel shame and embarrassment by the fact that they still need a side hustle in order to keep themselves financially afloat. And so I decided to shoot this video and share with you my story of how that wasn't an option for me either when I started my business. And why that's not only an okay thing, it's a good thing. In 2006, when I started my coaching practice, I was 30 years old. Please don't do the math. I was already married, and my wife and I were living in downtown Boston with some pretty hefty rent. On top of that, we had both gone to college and both gone to grad school. Hello, student loan debt. And we had expenses and responsibilities. And we simply couldn't afford for me to go from a pretty decent salary to nothing. You see, I had spent my 20s building a career as a fancy pants organizational development consultant for federal and local government agencies. Yeah, that's what I used to do. And it had this fantastic salary that came along with it, including fancy clothes and fancy heels. Can't you just see it? I couldn't go from that lifestyle to nothing. It just wasn't something that we could afford to do. And so I needed to go out and get what I call a job. Not another career, something that was going to give me reliable income while I worked on my coaching practice. Despite the gurus telling me it would only take me 1 year to become an overnight success, my gut knew better. And I knew that I needed to do this in a way that didn't put my family at risk and that didn't make it very excruciatingly hard for us. I had grown up pretty poor and I knew what it was like to have absolutely nothing. And damn it, I had spent way too many years working really hard for me and Meredith to be struggling. So I went out and got a job. And yes, I took a massive pay cut, but I got a job full-time at the Container Store. I started as a sales associate and quickly became the sales trainer and worked 3 years full-time at the Natick store in Massachusetts. When Meredith and I relocated to New York City, my business was starting to do pretty well and I could rely on some consistent income, but I was still figuring it out. And so I downshifted to part-time at the Container Store. Be clear, working in retail is hard work. It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Literal blood. I used a bandsaw in that job. But what I loved about that opportunity was that I clocked in and I clocked out. Instead of a consulting job where I was spending 70 or 80 hours a week pouring myself into it, which was pretty much expected, the Container Store was the kind of place that you went to work and then you left it there. So that took away all excuses for me to be able to work on my business and figure out what my voice was, figure out what problem I wanted to solve, figure out my target market, figure out how to deal with all those social media platforms that came along the way. There's no way that I would have ever been able to become what I am today had I not had the opportunity to keep my financial money coming in. I think of a job as your financial oxygen that you breathe into yourself and into your business so that you can really focus on it. If I didn't have that financial oxygen flowing into my business, I would have been so desperate for every sale. And you've probably had the experience when you're selling and you're kind of financially wanting that money, the client can smell that desperation and it ain't cute. When you're starting an online business, there is so much uncertainty. There's so many things that you can't possibly know, and there's a ton of things that are just out of your control. I was in business through the 2008-2009 downshift in the economy, yo. And so it's really important that you make sure that your needs are covered so that you can keep working towards this dream. So I desperately want you to stop feeling shame and embarrassment around the idea that you still have to have a day job. I left the Container Store completely in early 2013, I believe, and then I never looked back. I miss all of the folks that are there, and I totally miss that 40% discount. But I was finally able to be full-time into my coaching practice, and I went all in. That's when I started to develop more programs and get deeper into Hilda, and it really opened up a lot of doors. But there is no way that my coaching practice ever would have gotten off the ground if I didn't have that consistent financial oxygen pouring into my business. So I hope that you take from this that there's no shame in getting that financial oxygen. In fact, in 2016, when I decided to restructure my business after my book came out, I decided to get some subcontracting coaching work and did that for 9 months in order to fund the next phase of my business. So instead of taking out some kind of business loan, I've always chosen to use a little elbow grease and go out there and do a little side hustling, because there's no shame in making sure that your needs are met so that you can do your best work. If anybody out there has some human Hildas giving you grief about the fact that you're not serious about your business, I would like to flip that script for you. Somebody who is willing to side hustle, work all day, and then come home and work on your dream is more committed than anybody else I know. Somebody who's juggling a handful of jobs and wearing different hats in order to cobble together a lifestyle while you figure out what you want your business to be, that's an act of bravery. And I look up to anybody who's out there side hustling to make sure that you fund your dream. Don't let all of these human Hildas in. They're wrong. You are serious. Probably more serious than they are. And that's what makes them so uncomfortable. Ain't no shame in having a side hustle. That's what this video is going to be. There's no All right, so grabbing the focus. Hi, thank you, Babs. My name is Coach Jennie, and I'm the inner critic expert and author of, we're going to try that again, have it ready.